If you've ever asked yourself how much of my grief should my living children see, you are so not alone. Today we're talking about parenting while grieving, one of the most complex, emotional, and sacred journeys I've ever walked. How do we show up for the children who are still with us while mourning the one who isn't? How do we grieve without burdening them, but also without pretending that everything is okay? And how do we help our kids build emotional muscles that most of us weren't even taught ourselves? Welcome to Loud About Loss, the podcast that refuses to grieve in whispers. I'm Becky Hunt, author, speaker, child loss mom, cancer survivor, chronic illness warrior, and your no BS grief guide. If you're here, chances are you've known loss, or maybe you love someone who has. Either way, I'm so glad you found this space because we're talking about it all. Child loss, chronic illness, the gut punch moments life throws at you. And yep, even the big, messy, beautiful, complicated thing called faith. Nothing's off limits because, let's be honest, grief doesn't have boundaries. So why should we? So grab a coffee, grab a tissue, or the whole box, and let's dive in. This is not an episode about doing it right. There is no right. This is an episode about being real and giving ourselves permission to be both grieving parents and present ones. You are allowed to cry in front of your kids. You are allowed to show sadness. And you are also allowed to laugh, to dance in the kitchen, and to eat cake on a Tuesday because you survived another hard day. Last night, actually, I had one of these moments, and I was in bed. I was crying. I've had so much anxiety lately. I'm taking a break from social media, which is so hard for me, but it's so needed. Um, my anxiety is just bubbling up everywhere. I'm crying every day. Like, I don't know where all these tears are coming from. Honestly, I'm trying to figure out. I started therapy again, and with a new therapist. So, I'm on this process. But last night I was in bed crying. I was in my bedroom, and it was the kind of cry that hits without warning, and it sits heavy in your chest. Like we had just had dinner outside. What did we have for dinner? I don't even remember. We had corn on the cob. My husband Sean had done some grilling. It was great, and we had the girls there sitting and eating with us outside. It was a beautiful night, and I was quiet at dinner, and I didn't have a lot of words. I just felt really heavy. I had a headache. I had some weird sensations going on in my neck, pain, just a lot of pain lately. I'm not sleeping well. There's so many things that are happening with my body right now that I don't understand. But after dinner, I went into my bed. I went into my bedroom. I lay down on my bed. And I didn't know it was coming, but I hugged a pillow really, really tight, and I just started crying. It just came and it came and it came. And my 11-year-old, Emilia, came into the room and she saw me crying. She laid next to me, and at first I wanted to stop the tears. I didn't want her to see them. I didn't want to talk about it. I just wanted to like stuff it all down, right? Like I've done my whole life. So I wanted to wipe them away quickly and put on a strong face, and I wanted to protect her from the weight of my grief, but I didn't. I let the tears fall, and she looked at me and she said, "What's something that makes you happy, Mom?" And I couldn't even answer at first. And then she brought up Gracie, and the tears came even harder. And I told her that thinking about Gracie right now was making me sadder. And she looked at me like so wise and so calm. I don't even know who raised her. But she said, "That's okay, Mom." In that moment, I debated in my head, do I let her see this? Do I let her hear my broken heart? Or do I protect her from it? But I thought about how I never saw my parents cry when I was little. I'd seen my mom, tear up from, I don't know, something sad that was happening to somebody that I don't even remember, but I remember little bits and pieces here of seeing, her cry a little bit or tear up, but I never really saw her cry. I never saw them break down. And maybe that's why I have the instinct to hide my own grief. And maybe I'm doing the opposite now, hoping Emilia will learn that grief isn't shameful, that sadness isn't something we need to hide in the bathroom or push down until it explodes. There is this pressure, especially as moms, to be okay for everyone else and to wipe away our tears so our kids feel safe. But here's the thing. Kids feel our emotions, even when we pretend. What they need isn't a perfect mom. They need a real one. And yes, there's balance. Every parent gets to decide how much of their grief they want to share. There's no universal rule, but when you feel the pressure to be okay, ask yourself, am I hiding this because it serves my child or because I think it makes me more acceptable? This was a really long night for me. I there was something going on with my body that I didn't understand. The tears kept on coming, and I kept on crying, and one thing came up after another, and it was just so many emotions and so many things that I was overwhelmed by. That anxiety was just like taking over every inch of my body. And then I had low blood sugars. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I had low blood sugars and I felt really sick. And then I was eating, Oreos, and my husband was seeing me shaking on the stairs, and like my body was just uncontrollable. And he, got me orange juice and like, I need sugar, I need sugar, I need sugar. And it was just a really big night for me. And my daughter saw all of it. And there were moments, while she was laying next to me, talking to me about my sadness and also about joy, because she was talking about, you know what, Mom, she, I don't know, maybe she's going to be a therapist someday, but like, she was talking about, you know what, Mom, when I'm sad, I think about history class and how much I hate it. This was her relating to my grief, and her grief was, in the moment it was history class, learning about history. And she told me, like, Mom, I like to think about dancing, and I like to think about theater and singing on stage, and like things that make me feel really happy and really good. And I'm like, wow, Emilia, you are so wise. And like I had moments of, relief from the crying and, just talking to her and just like being present with her and talking about our feelings. And it was really powerful. And I kept on thinking, okay, how much of my grief and my sadness do I want to share with her right now? Like I was trying to pick and choose, like, oh, this is coming up for me. Should I share this out loud? will that be good for her to hear, or will it be bad? Will it damage her? Will it like ruin her future? Like, I kept on thinking about those things, but I just kept coming back to the present moment and just thinking like, no, she needs to see this. She needs to know that her mom is struggling, that I am talking to someone about this that is a professional and that someone that can help me. And, um, you know, it's really important to talk about our emotions out loud. And I wanted her to hear that and to see that and to experience that so that she's not afraid and doesn't push down her thoughts and feelings like I have my whole life. And like I'm learning a lot about my childhood right now, and like I had such a good childhood. I was blessed with amazing parents, and I'm so grateful, but my parents had their own issues, right? And those, stemmed off from how they were raised. And like I'm just understanding so much of how the way that I am and the way that I experience things, the way that I process things, when why my feelings show up, when and how they do. And like, I'm realizing that it all kind of stems from like me and growing up and, you know, the things that I went through, the things that I experienced as a child. And it just kind of put into perspective how, like, I wanted Emilia's childhood to go. And I don't have control over it. I do not. But what I can do for her is to just have honesty and openness and rawness and just like real. Like, I want her childhood to be real and not fake. And what I've learned is this: grief, when shared in love, can actually strengthen your child's emotional resilience. They learn empathy. They learn that sadness isn't the enemy. They learn that grief is a part of love. Ecclesiastes 3:4 says, "There is a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance." So, what if our children got to witness both? What if they saw us cry and then also saw us get back up, make dinner, and keep going? There are 5 things that I've been experiencing and kind of wanted to share with you. I don't know if you want to call them tips or like, I mean, we all have to raise our children differently. We all have this choice. We all have, you know, there's no right or wrong. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, like, you as their parent get to decide what they see, what they don't see. But these are just like a few things that I encourage you to like keep in mind while you're deciding. So, number 1, give yourself permission to cry with them and away from them. Hey friend, real quick before we jump back into the episode, did you know you can read the first chapter of my memoir, Joy Does Return, right now? Totally free. Yep, it's raw, it's honest, and it's probably not what you're expecting from a book about grief. I'm talking awkward childhood stories, dark humor, and the wild, unexpected moments that shaped the girl I used to be, and the woman I had to become after losing my daughter. If you've ever wondered how the heck joy comes back after everything falls apart, this chapter is where it all begins. So if you're nosy, same. Curious? Always. Or just need a little hope today, go grab it. Links in the show notes to snag your free chapter of Joy Does Return. Trust me, you're gonna laugh, maybe cry, and you might even feel seen. All right, back to the show. Number 2, narrate what you're feeling in age-appropriate ways, right? So like, explain to them, like, why are you sad, right? my 5-year-old, I would say, mommy is sad right now because she misses Gracie, but it's okay to feel sad, you know? And since my daughter's 11, my other daughter's 11, I can pick and choose how much I share with her. I shared with her, like, thinking about Gracie, like her even just saying Gracie in the moment when she was lying next to me, it stirred up a lot in me. And when I think about Gracie lately, it just brings me sadness because her birthday is fast approaching. It's like in only a few weeks, right? And I get really extra sad at this time of year. And I told her, thinking about Gracie right now just makes me extra sad. Makes me even sadder. And that was okay for me to explain to her because like I wasn't saying no, I don't want to talk about Gracie. I don't want to think about her. I just said that, it makes mommy extra sad. But it's okay to talk about her. It's okay to be sad, right? And let them ask questions. Let them bring up the sibling they miss too. I know a lot of people would disagree with me on that, and I want to challenge that because they are a part of our lives. They are inside us, inside our hearts. Our memories are inside our mind constantly, all the time. They don't go away. And sharing their sibling with them, I just think it's so important for them to see because like what if they experience that down the road? What if they have a miscarriage or a stillbirth or have a child that lives and is sick? They need to know that it's okay to say their name. And one other thing that's really important to me and my family is to, use traditions to help them connect to your grief. Like our pink traditions that we do on Gracie's birthday every year, they're so healing for all of us, for my parents and for my brother and sister-in-law, because they were in the hospital with us and they knew Gracie. And, our kids that followed after, that we had after Gracie, passed away, they're part of that celebration too. I have friends that have lost children too, and they shared with me like we don't really have traditions like that. We don't have any rituals or like things that we do. We don't make them a cake. We don't blow out candles on the birthday, And I understand that that's an individual thing because we all grieve differently. But if you feel like you want to celebrate your child that way, and it doesn't matter if they were just inside you, they just lived inside you. Like, who freaking cares? Celebrate their life in some way. And I realize, like I have 2 days that are really significant when it comes to Gracie. It's her birthday, the day she was born. That was a happy day. And the day that she died, that was the worst day. And I realized that a lot of us moms have, the birthday and the death day is the same day, the same moment. And that's hard to celebrate. We don't want to celebrate that necessarily, right? We just don't want to relive that day again and again. Like we could gladly skip over that day every day for the rest of our lives, right? But if there is a way to celebrate their life, to, on a day that you're thinking about them a lot, maybe wear the color that reminds you of them. Maybe, grab the stuffed animal that or blanket that, you wrapped them in, that they touched. Maybe keep that close to you for the day. Just, I don't know. And like the last little tip, and this one I am just realizing is really important, and I'm in the thick of it, is to normalize therapy and support and talking out loud about your feelings, about your grief. Because the more that we say these things out loud, it's almost like it's a release. Like we compartmentalize so many things inside our bodies and we push it down, we push it down, we push it down. And then when we say something out loud or we let like a scream out loud, like I encourage you, friend, go scream. And not just in a pillow. Like if you just do some sort of release, even just saying something out loud, even if you're just talking to God, like it does something to our nervous system that it's like you breathe in and then you breathe out grief. And like there's a little less, like a teeny tiny bit less of that grief inside of you. And then I have a word for the mom who feels like she's messing up. And friend, if you're wondering if you're showing too much or too little, you're probably showing just enough. You are thoughtful, you are intentional, and you are present. And your kids do not need you to be okay all the time. They just need to know you love them. And that even when you're hurting, they're safe. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." And if that's you today, know that you're not alone. So here's my encouragement to you to grieve out loud when it feels right. And let your children see that life is not always easy, but that love and healing still show up. And your sadness doesn't scare them as much as you think. It really doesn't. When we model authenticity, we give them permission to be human too. You are doing holy work, friend. You are mothering through the hardest thing anyone can live through. You're not alone. If this episode spoke to you, don't forget to follow Loud About Loss wherever you stream podcasts and share it with someone who might need it too. You never know how much of a difference that makes. Even you thinking about someone who needs to hear this podcast, like you just sending it to them says so much, even if they listen to it or not. Doesn't matter. Just you thinking about them means the absolute world. All right, friends, that's a wrap for today. Remember, grief isn't quiet and you don't have to be either. Your story, your loss, your healing, it all matters. And if no one's told you today, you're doing better than you think. If you got something out of this episode, share it with a friend, leave a review, or just scream into the void. I'll probably hear you. And if you want to connect, slide into my DMs or find me at beckyhunt.net. Until next time, keep grieving, keep growing, and keep getting loud about loss.